Microsoft just announced that they just signed yet another 10 years deal for Call of Duty and other Activision Blizzard games just to show how consumer friendly they are. Do you think regulators will actually care? Let's look into this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So looks like Microsoft is signing Call of Duty 10 years contracts with everyone, left and right. You know what, I was thinking about calling Microsoft, so maybe I could make some deal with them. I'm not sure what would I provide, but hey, if they are willing to sign the deal, let's do it. Obviously, I'm joking right now, but looks like Microsoft is really signing these Call of Duty deals with all kinds of companies. They are obviously focusing mainly on the cloud streaming companies, basically game streaming providers, because they did sign the deal with Nvidia. Nintendo, but Nintendo is not really a cloud solution. But actually, let's look into that particular deal, because this is the deal I'm talking about here. So Boosteroid and Microsoft have signed 10 years agreement to bring Xbox PC games to Boosteroid. It includes Xbox Bethesda titles and Activision Blizzard games like Call of Duty after the acquisition is complete. Excited to see these games becoming widely available in the cloud. So what's interesting about this particular deal, and I think this deal is very similar to deal with Nvidia, because first off, the deal with Nintendo includes only Call of Duty. So the deal they made with Nintendo is only for Call of Duty games. And obviously this deal is about porting the game to Nintendo. So that more work, investment, etc., right? So that's why they made that deal only for Call of Duty. While with cloud companies like Nvidia and now Boosteroid. Now, by the way, this is the first time I actually heard about this company. Apparently, they've got around 4 million subscribers, so they are not as big as Nvidia, because Nvidia, I think they have got around 30 million or something like that, I think. I'm not really sure. But looks like when it comes to these cloud/streaming platforms, they will be offering pretty much all Xbox games. So Xbox Studio games, Bethesda games, Activision Blizzard games, if that deal goes through. So looks like there's not really going to be any exclusivity when it comes to cloud streaming, at least for 10 years, right? Because like I said, all these games will be available at least for 10 years. What's going to happen after that, we don't really know. And I'm just wondering if that has anything to do with the fact that when it comes to cloud streaming, Microsoft has not really seen the growth they expected, in my opinion. I think that Microsoft thought that cloud streaming and that particular market would grow faster, but that did not happen. I'm sure that's the future, but looks like we're not there just yet. That's why they still keep talking about how consoles are important. They keep talking about that they will be producing and making these consoles in the future. And obviously PC gaming is very important as well, because there's like millions of Steam users and that kind of stuff. Game Pass obviously is very important for them as well, but that's still games natively running on consoles or PC. Either way, Boosteroid will get all these games in in their service. Now, I'm just kind of curious, because obviously all these deals, they make these deals just to convince regulators to like them, to show how consumer friendly they are, and it actually makes sense really, because it's not really much of an investment for Microsoft, because if you really think about these games and they won't even have to make any ports per se, because even this, but like with NVIDIA, it's straight like PC versions, right? So like no investment is really needed, and really NVIDIA is handling everything really when it comes to streaming. And so all Microsoft has to do is just provide the game for Steam, and that's it. So that kind of makes sense. And so that's for NVIDIA. Now the Boosteroid with Nintendo, that's going to be a proper investment, because they will have to make these ports for Nintendo, and it's going to be more difficult because Switch is not really that powerful, so you cannot just quick port it from Xbox or PlayStation, at least not like proper next gen versions. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, Witcher 3 is on Switch, so I could imagine Call of Duty being on that console as well. And there were Call of Duty games on Nintendo in the past. They just didn't really do good. Another option with Nintendo, which not many people talk about, is maybe they would just offer Call of Duty games on Nintendo via streaming. So that's another option, because we know that Resident Evil, for example, are on Nintendo Switch, but these are provided by NVIDIA via cloud streaming. So obviously that's not really going to be for everyone. You have to be connected to internet, and that's not really a proper native experience, right? But so I'm curious how Microsoft is going to do it. Is that going to be a native port for Nintendo, or are they just going to go with, a cloud solution like, NVIDIA did? I think they talk about port because they think about native version of that game running on Switch, because I think CMA was even arguing that it's really difficult, if even possible, that it's not possible really to make Call of Duty run on Switch. I don't agree with this. I mean, let's just face it, like Call of Duty games are not necessarily that demanding per se. Yes, they 4K and they run at 60, so just make it run 30, just like Doom did, and you're covered, right? Make it run at 720p or lower and you're done, right? That's not really going to be the best experience, like all these multi-platform games on Switch, like maybe not all of them, but a lot of them, and you're done, right? So, not sure if Switch people will actually want to play that version of the game, but that's another story. So we'll see. So CMA did argue that whether a Nintendo port is actually technically possible. And, obviously Microsoft argues that, yes, it's possible. So it looks like with Nintendo, it's going to be a proper port. Because if they were thinking about cloud solution, they, could have as well just offer them like all Xbox games. But I'm not really sure if Nintendo would want that either, because they've got some of these Game Pass games on their service and on their platform as well, so they would lose money on that, I guess. I don't know. Either way, looks like Microsoft is really pushing hard these deals. On top of that, this is not the last deal apparently, because Brad Smith, I think, so from Microsoft, did confirm they are in talks with some other companies. I don't really know which ones, and he didn't really specify which companies he was talking about, but looks like there's going to be more of these deals. So I'm just kind of curious how regulators are going to react to it, right? Will that make any difference? I mean, with EU, probably not. I think it's more for CMA and FTC, so we'll have to wait and see, guys. So anyway, so that's the news. Microsoft is still fighting hard for that deal to go through, and I think it will go through. It's just a matter of time. So anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for support. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.